Story 1. Play hard to get. Honestly, if you like someone, just show it. Games only confuse things and waste time. Story 2. Opposites attract sounds exciting, but long-term relationships thrive on shared values, not constant differences. Story 3. Be persistent. Don't give up easily. In real life, if a woman clearly tells you she is not interested, then move on. If you keep trying, you will come off as creepy. Story 4. Don't worry. When you least expect it, you will find your perfect person. Abandon all hope, and then, by some magic, the perfect Disney princess will materialize out of thin air. Story 5. My best friend always tells me to approach every girl I find attractive anytime and anywhere. They will be flattered and will absolutely adore me. She often complains about guys approaching her everywhere and at all times, expressing how dreadful it is that this is a regular and frequent occurrence in society. Story 6. Just be yourself. Okay, but I am socially anxious, make awkward jokes, and overthink every text. Do you have a better plan? Story 7. If they like you, you'll just know. No, I have misinterpreted a good morning text and shared a playlist as a marriage proposal before. We need clarity, not telepathy. Story 8. Just wait. The right person will come along. I also wait for a job to knock on my door, or should I apply for that too? Story 9. All my high school friends advised me to never double or triple text, and to wait at least an hour before texting back, so I didn't appear desperate. All of those friends are single, and I'm married because I decided it was unwise to act disinterested. Yes, they still give me their updates on their strategy to appear busy. Story 10. I dislike when married individuals or those in committed relationships tell single people things like, "You need to learn to love yourself first." These individuals did not meet their partners after graduating from self-actualization programs. They found their partners because they also had romantic needs just like anyone else. Needs that cannot be fulfilled by family members, friends, or hobbies. Single people are expected to create a fulfilling life for themselves, while married individuals often forget that they have a built-in partner to join them on trips and attend events. They have a family and a schedule filled with things to look forward to or not in their lives. These individuals believe they are independent and self-actualized, but they don't seem to realize that their partners support them. Without that partner, there would be no extra hands to help raise children or allow time for activities like Pilates. Their household would struggle, and their free time would diminish. Their lives would be dramatically different. Yet, those same individuals have the nerve to suggest to a single person that they simply don't love themselves enough, implying that they have already done their part and should take similar steps. As someone in a committed relationship, I particularly dislike when other married women offer this type of advice to single individuals. Story 11. There is someone out there for everyone. I know it sounds comforting, but it is not always true, especially when you do not actively work on building healthy relationships or improving yourself. Sometimes it is not just about finding the right person. It is about being in the right mindset, putting yourself out there, and being realistic about what you want and need in a relationship. Story 12. Don't worry, he will come around. So I just wait while he takes his time figuring things out? Sounds like fun, but not really. Story 13. Never approach a woman in public. Coming up to someone and immediately hitting on them is inappropriate, but there is generally nothing wrong with trying to strike up small talk. Of course, there are times when you need to exercise tact, read the situation, and recognize when it is best not to engage at that moment. Story 14. If they wanted to, they would. Nobody can read your mind. If you want something, you will have to talk to them. Story 15. Join a new hobby or group. Most people you meet through hobbies are not suitable for dating due to factors like gender, relationship status, age, personality compatibility, or attraction. The likelihood of finding a partner through hobbies is slim, just like anywhere else. Story 16. There is someone for everyone. It is a nice sentiment, but it also reflects a self-serving bias. Story 17. Asking women out when they are in public can be challenging. Speed dating is often unappealing. It's best to avoid approaching women when they are in a group. Story 18. I have always found the phrase work on yourself to be unnecessarily cryptic. It sounds like a good idea, but what does it mean? Make more money? Achieve physical fitness? Even if it were one of those, isn't the human experience inherently subjective? Why conform? Story 19. Just be confident. That's one of the many things required to be successful in the dating scene. Story 20. The concept of playing hard to get or waiting 3 days before texting someone is nonsensical. If you have found a person whose company you enjoy, why would you behave differently? Story 21. Don't go to bed angry. Most arguments seem trivial after you have cooled down, and even those that don't can benefit from taking a break and getting some rest. Story 22. Never engage in romantic relationships where you work. This advice is often exaggerated. Many relationships begin in the workplace, and there is evidence to support this. Story 23. Just talk to her. This is a favorite among guys who don't understand why they are attractive. Much of the poor dating advice comes from individuals who lack knowledge about dating yet still manage to get dates. I occasionally get dates without understanding how or why, but I don't offer others dating advice as if I know what I'm doing. Story 24. Playing mind games with people instead of being direct involves taking an extra 10 minutes to respond to a message if they initially took an extra 5 minutes to text you. It includes subtly posting content on social media that is meant to be passively aggressive, expecting others to read your mind or accurately guess what you want instead of communicating directly and openly. Story 25. Just wait for the love of your life to come. This is completely untrue. If someone wants a girlfriend so badly, they should just approach new girls. You improve by actually trying, not by watching videos about this topic. Story 26. There is someone out there for everyone. However, in our current culture, people and connections are often seen as disposable. If you want to meet someone new, you might as well imagine them, as many seem only interested in themselves these days. The mindset has shifted from, "What can we do together?" to, "What can you do for me?" Story 27. Don't go to bed angry. Going to sleep will be better for all of us. And maybe we won't say things we don't really mean out of hurt and pain. Work everything out immediately. Some of us take longer to process things than others. If he wanted to, he would. Just because he wants to doesn't mean he can. You should always put your partner first. What if you have children or your goals in life are drastically different? I had an ex break up with me partially because I love my city and wasn't ready to leave it while he wanted to travel the world. I think that's fair. Story 28. Go to the bar, join a hobby, or participate in a class at a community college. Story 29. Be her friend before you try to date her. There are people who prefer to date others who are already friends with them, and that's fine. Some also happen to date individuals they were friends with. However, the majority of people do not share this preference. Thankfully, I learned this early, but many guys do not, and they find out the hard way. It is important to note that there is nothing wrong with having dating preferences that differ from the norm. Whether it is wanting to be friends before dating or having other requirements about physical intimacy during the pre-relationship phase, that is perfectly acceptable. However, if anyone intends to offer dating advice, they need to acknowledge that their preferences may not be typical, might not be effective for most people, and should focus on advice that will resonate with the majority. Story 30. Relationships are not 50-50ths. They require 100/100 from both parties. If you want a successful relationship, you need to give your full effort. Relationships will fail if both individuals are not committed. It is often said that men need to compromise or should be the ones to put in the most effort. This harkens back to the outdated belief that a man is fortunate to have won the affection of an extraordinary woman. He must work hard and feel lucky that she has chosen him. Women who hold on to this belief may face disappointment, as many men will eventually tire of a partner who does not reciprocate effort. These women may look to move on to the next unsuspecting individual to drain their energy. To have a fulfilling relationship, both partners need to give 100% and be willing to offer equal effort. I am happily married with children and grateful to have met someone who meets me halfway. We often share our feelings with each other, and sometimes that is all it takes. Being there to listen without judgment. It involves being thoughtful and sometimes sacrificing your own needs for the wants of your partner, as it's often better to give than to receive. If you find someone who makes you feel this way, put forth the effort and enjoy a selfless relationship. They truly are the best kind. Story 31. A friend will look me dead in the eye and say, "Just be yourself. You know me, that's not going to work." Story 32. Just be yourself. Yes, you mean a shy, introverted person with self-esteem issues? It has been working well so far, so why change now? Story 33. Don't chase, attract. This can be true sometimes, but for the most part, particularly for men, you absolutely have to take the first step because most women won't, even if they are interested in you. Story 34. Just be yourself. Those most successful in first and second impressions are not the ones who are truly themselves. Give everyone a chance. This can be extremely dangerous at worst and boring at best. Participating in societies, clubs, or events often does not work. The individuals there are either straight and of the same sex or married. Women, on average, enjoy certain activities that men typically engage in only with their spouses and vice versa. Don't worry about your age. Story 35. Women care about financial stability, but prioritize a good partner who can manage their responsibilities. Story 36. I feel broken and emotionally unstable. I don't even want to be with myself. What makes you think someone else would? Story 37. I find it's the usual expectation to be on your best behavior and really try hard to present your best self. Why do people feel it is a good idea to start a relationship with lies? I have always just been myself and pointed out my flaws that I know I cannot change. They are going to become apparent eventually, so why hide them? You need to accept that the point of dating is to find someone who accepts you for who you are. The sooner you accept yourself and be yourself, the greater the chances of actually meeting someone who will love you for who you are, flaws and all. Story 38. Just be yourself. Be attentive and at your best on a date. The fact that you are not perfect should emerge slowly over time. Story 39. The whole idea of stop looking and the right person will find you is not accurate. You need to be proactive in your search. However, you should avoid being overly eager, as desperation can be unappealing. Story 40. I don't receive any advice because I don't have the opportunity to date someone. I always face rejection. Story 41. Just be yourself. It's a major disadvantage for introverts and individuals with typical neurological conditions because people often say we are not interpreting the signals correctly. Story 42. Never go to bed angry. I have definitely said things in the heat of the moment that I did not mean or could have communicated more effectively and less hurtfully if I had given myself the chance to calm down. Sometimes it is just better to sleep on it, let yourself cool off, and discuss things after everyone has had a good night's rest and some breakfast. Story 43. Just be yourself. This is true to some extent, but let people get to know you slowly. Talk about the better aspects of yourself on the first few dates. People who discuss true love or claim there is only one person for you are misguided. I have met many people I could see myself with and I am compatible with. I chose one of them. Playing hard to get is terrible advice. The correct way to phrase it is, don't be too needy or desperate. People who insist that a first date should be dinner or a movie are mistaken. A first date should be inexpensive. Consider a picnic, a walk in the park, going to a bar, or visiting a coffee shop. Don't invest until you know if it's worth it. Choose a setting where you can talk to each other. Story 44. When I was younger, the advice to boys in magazines was always to become a girl's friend if they had a crush on her. However, these days it is viewed as betraying a girl's trust. Story 45. Just be yourself is not enough. Be the best version of yourself is the true message. Being yourself with no social skills and dressing inappropriately is not effective. Honestly, how Math and Casey Zander shared some fantastic insights that have helped me. Story 46. First date advice that becomes too specific about what kind of activity is best, or suggests a guaranteed catch-all option for the perfect date, often lacks nuance. Articles or people who assert, take her out for a light physical activity like mini golf. It's a guaranteed winner. Serve as examples of this. In reality, as with many things, different preferences suit different people. You may believe you are not interested in dating, but it could simply be that you have not yet discovered an activity you would enjoy with someone else. In summary, most advice that is overly specific lacks proper context. There is never a one-size-fits-all solution to dating, let alone to human interactions in general. Story 47. In the past, I've heard the phrase, lower your standards. It's terrible advice. I'm glad my standards have risen as I've gotten older. I found the perfect person for me. Story 48. Just be yourself. If you're having success with that, you don't need advice in the first place. Since you do, try this instead. Decide who you want to be and be that person. Do you want to be someone who sings karaoke, a dancer, a gym enthusiast, or a drummer? Become that person. Get comfortable with it. Then go out and be yourself. Story 49. Don't text too quickly. Wait 3 days. Some people will say that if you show too much interest, you appear needy, desperate, and as if you have nothing going on in your life. If you want to play games, go to an arcade. Otherwise, if you feel something, let the other person know. Story 50. Just be yourself. Sounds nice, but in practice, if you are shy or awkward, that won't be enough. You need to improve your confidence, grooming, and communication. Be yourself only works when your best self is present. Story 51. I've had friends and an ex tell me I'm too honest about my past with the people I date. Feels like bad advice to me. If it's a good relationship, they'll find out anyway. Story 52. Be yourself. This can be poor advice if you are naturally timid and lack social cues. At times, you need to change and elevate yourself. Looking better, smelling good, and engaging in conversation can help tremendously. Story 53. Those who say, be yourself, do not understand that it can be challenging if you are nervous or autistic. I spent the first hour of a first date literally shaking from nerves and was barely able to string together a sentence. I was honest with the guy that I was extremely anxious, and he thought it was hilarious. After a change of scenery, we ended up spending over 11 hours chatting and driving around, getting lost and mildly freaking out over being lost. Yes, we are still seeing each other, and he really helps me come out of my shell, but I still struggle with talking to most people. Story 54. Good things come to those who wait and just live your life. Love will happen naturally. I am almost 35 and still single. Just doing my own thing isn't enough to get a guy's attention. Story 55. Just be confident. Confidence does not create attraction. People perceive those they are attracted to as more confident. Story 56. I don't know what advice is insincere, but I will say that as a man trying to date women, I have maybe 1 or 2 messages at most after we match to keep their attention on me. Realize they are likely receiving 10 times more likes and matches than I am, and if I don't make the best first impression, someone else will. Story 57. I want to emphasize that in many aspects of life, including dating, a conversation where you listen to the other person and consider their perspective should almost always precede any advice you give, if you give any at all. I can't count the amount of poor advice I received from friends and family. I ignored it all because I knew it wasn't right for me. I focused on myself, was patient, and always kind. How did that work out? I'm 34 and have experienced many painful heartbreaks. But last year, I met a woman I thought was too good to be true. But she is. She's smarter than I am, funnier, and the most beautiful person in any room I've ever been in. We moved in together and are planning to get married and move to Sweden. In short, any advice given without a prior conversation is often not helpful. Story 58. Content often shared by frustrated singles can be found on social media platforms. Additionally, individuals who profit from dating advice typically have a financial interest in providing guidance that may not be effective, similar to how dating applications may possess an incentive to remain ineffective. Story 59. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Great, how many don't have chlamydia? You're all unappealing. Everyone. Story 60. One of the biggest dating tips people often share is to just be yourself. I understand the idea. Be authentic and don't pretend to be someone you're not. However, that advice can be less helpful. You need to present your best self, The version of you that is well-groomed, rested, and not oversharing personal issues. Be genuine, but consider easing into your quirks instead of revealing them all at once. Show people your different layers over time. Story 61. Stop looking for a girlfriend or boyfriend. That's as reliable as recommending playing the lottery as a way to get rich. Unless you are extremely attractive, have a high status, or are very lucky, it's not going to just happen. Story 62. A dating tip that sounds smart but is completely misleading in practice. If they like you, they will pursue you. In reality, healthy connections are built on mutual effort, not an emotional tug-of-war. Story 63. To avoid being too picky, I had people tell me that the qualities I sought in a partner would be hard to find and not to be surprised if I didn't meet someone who met all my criteria. I now have a partner who fits exactly what I wanted and more, without wasting my time on individuals who were less compatible or didn't make me feel secure. I advise my friends not to settle. The person you are speaking with won't be your last chance at love, and if they don't meet the requirements you genuinely desire, there's someone out there who will. Story 64. Ask women for advice on how to be successful in attracting and approaching them. In reality, you are better off seeking advice from men who are successful with women. Story 65. Don't go there just to meet women. Introverts like me would feel isolated because leaving the house is already a burden. I'm not going to any social event without a good reason. Story 66. Just be yourself can be poor advice depending on who you are. Some individuals are very successful in dating by pretending to be someone they are not. Story 67. Be yourself. Are you serious? I'm a shy, unassuming classic nerd with a hyperactive imagination that takes shape in tabletop role-playing games, dad jokes, and dark humor. I'm a romantic guy who is also attracted to others. It turns out that's not quirky, funny, or attractive if you don't look like Henry Cavill from the outset. I cannot be myself. Society has told women for years that creeps and weirdos share my characteristics, and to be fair, some do, but not this time. Story 68. Changing into smaller-sized pants every time you go to the bathroom, trying to figure out if they will fit. It doesn't really work too well, in my opinion. Story 69. Just be yourself. It sounds great in theory, but being yourself doesn't always work in your favor, especially if you're trying to make a connection with someone you're interested in. Everyone has their quirks, insecurities, and behaviors that might not always be the most appealing in the context of dating. Additionally, being yourself doesn't consider that relationships often require effort, self-improvement, and an understanding of what the other person values. Sometimes you need to adapt, invest in communication, and present your best self, even if it's not your completely unfiltered version. Story 70. 90% of what women say to men in order to attract them includes suggestions like, hit the gym, get better fitting clothes, go outside and find some hobbies, or the often heard advice, don't use apps. Meanwhile, many women are actively using dating apps, complaining about the challenges of online dating while rejecting men who do not meet their idealized standards of a tall, muscular, attractive partner, often reminiscent of the fantasies portrayed in Disney films. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.